So down here on the bottom, I've got a hook point here. I've got a hook point here. These are different spaces that I can use with my thumb to turn the wheel more powerfully if I need to. One-handed steering can be done. It can be safe, but still, for the new driver, 9 and 3 is the safest hand position. Hey, it's Jacqueline, and for the next few minutes, we're going to work on steering. When I'm working with new drivers, I teach them to drive with their hands at 9 and 3 because research shows that that's the safest hold for the safest reaction time. And it never fails that drivers want to talk about the different hand positions they see their friends or their family members use. So a lot of times people will say, but I see my dad drive like this, or I see my mom drive like this, or maybe they want to talk about how one of their friends drives with their knee. So I'm not really interested in helping people learn how to drive with their knees or in different handholds that are not safe. But I have helped people who only have one arm learn to drive with one arm. So I'm going to spend the next few minutes demonstrating how it is safe and possible to drive with one arm. It is even legal. That said, 9 and 3, 2 hands on the wheel, is the way that new drivers should drive. It's the way you're going to drive for your driving test. And let's say until you get your 10 or 20 years of experience, I'd love for you to use the most safest thing that you can, which is 2 hands on the wheel. But as I said, we're going to head out on the road and we're going to work on one-handed steering just to show how it's possible, safe, and even legal. So I have worked with folks who can only drive with one arm, the left arm. One person that I worked with did not have a right arm, and another person had a stroke, and so their right arm was not usable. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm someone who only has a left working arm. The important thing about driving with one arm is to make sure that your thumb stays firm on the wheel and that you're navigating with your hand in a way that uses the steering wheel to safely rotate. When I was rotating the wheel to its furthest extent, I used pressure off from my hand to push forward, and I also use the little holds that are on the steering wheel. And by hold I mean the hooks, the hook points that you'll find on the wheel. So down here on the bottom, I've got a hook point here, I've got a hook point here. These are different spaces that I can use with my thumb to turn the wheel more powerfully if I need to. So as my usual driving, I keep my thumb here in my 9 o'clock position, but if I'm turning the wheel in a significant way and I want some extra support, I hook my thumb on what I'm calling the hook spots so that I get that controlled turn. I'm going to make a right turn here. Again, modeling how with my left hand positioned at 9 o'clock, I can still use the turn signals. And then I'm demonstrating turning with one hand, using the left hand only to circle the 360 degrees to the right for the right turn, and then holding onto the wheel to rotate back. I'm going to make another right turn here, again demonstrating just using the left hand, turning the wheel, holding, and then turning back, all from this 9 o'clock position. So when my left thumb holds the steering wheel, my fingers can use the turn signal knobs. I'm able to make my turns and control the steering wheel with one hand the same way that I can with two hands. If you only are able to use one arm for driving, you definitely have to be more aware, more careful, thinking about things that could be challenges. Like here, turning the wheel, I'm using the hook of my thumb. Of course, I'm still aware of my space. When I turn the wheel around, I'm just putting pressure forward with my hand, and that's what helps me move the wheel. So I've got steady thumb, a thumb that can hook, and I put pressure forward on the steering wheel if I want to turn the wheel significantly with only my one hand. Again, one-handed steering is not something that I think a new driver should be thinking about in terms of, being cool or just trying to be more comfortable with one hand. But if you have to drive with only one arm, I hope that you know that you can be safe, that the steering wheel is designed so that it is still usable with one arm. And here we just turn, hold, and then release. And my palm, my fingers, and then my thumb secure the wheel so I can continue going straight. So we've done some right turns and left turns, as well as U-turns with one hand. And now I'm just going to go out onto a straight road and model lane changes and driving straight with one arm, which are quite simple. So one-handed steering can be done, it can be safe, but still, for the new driver, 9 and 3 is the safest hand position. As I'm creeping out and looking, I'm using my left hand to carry the wheel about a quarter plus turn, and then I continue my rotation, holding the wheel, and then letting it come back to center. To make a lane change, I'm going to follow my same patterns, and because my one hand that I'm using is positioned at 9 o'clock, it's perfect for my turn signal and steering control. And I'm going to make a left turn here with my signal, holding the wheel. And I love when we get to stop at our intersections in our perfect position just in time for a family to cross by safely. So whether you're driving with one hand or two, you're always making your safe choices to keep everyone around you feeling good. When I make my left turn, using only my left hand to steer the wheel, we'll see the same movements that we used in our residential area. I'm going to hook my thumb, turn the wheel, hold, and release. And now I'll make a right lane change, just using my left hand to anchor the wheel, keep it steady, and be able to use my turn signals. So we know we can make right or left turns and right or left lane changes. Let's see if we can park with one hand. Turning into the parking lot, controlling the wheel. And I see a spot over here on the left. I'm going to put my signal on, turning the wheel, using just pressure to push forward, and full stop. So I hope that demonstration showed how one hand, the left hand in the 9 o'clock position, can control the turn signal knobs. It can control the steering wheel as needed, either with pressure forward or by hooking your thumb and using the thumb hooks on the steering wheel as a place to hold. Again, I'm not suggesting that a new driver should drop the right hand and only drive with the left. I just do want to give this model because I see a lot of people posting saying, I drive with one hand, and I want the new driver to understand your safest driving is 2 hands on the wheel, 9 and 3, but there are people for their own health considerations that can drive successfully with one hand, and perhaps as someone gets more experience driving, they might choose to drive with one hand also. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for stopping in to consider what it's like to drive with one hand, and make safe choices for you as a new driver to make sure that you're making really safe steering. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.